Tour Junkies.
Hey, welcome to the Tour Junkie Show. This is the Travelers Championship 2025. My name is Pat Perry, and I've got my co-host David Barnett here. David Barnett lives in Augusta, Georgia. I live in Savannah, Georgia, and we talk golf. We talk betting on golf, and we talk also fantasy golf as well. So, as we get into the show, we need to talk about our good friends at SoBet, DB. Do you know about SoBet?
I've heard of them.
Yeah. SoBet, they're just an incredible sponsor of ours. You need to be with SoBet, okay? Use promo code TJ2025. They've got all these vetted handicappers. They track their records of success. You know, they do daily, weekly, monthly leaderboards. I don't know. It's just a great site, DB. I love them. Thanks for making me do this.
Yeah, you're welcome, Pat. You did a great job. Bang up job there. I thought we were going to get into our resumes there for a minute. It kind of felt like an old show. So that was good. But yeah, SoBet's rocking and rolling. They got some great contests going on over there. And hey, did you see what I did on SoBet this week, Pat?
I did not see what you did on SoBet because I was out of town last week, if you recall, and so I didn't really pay attention to much anything, to be honest. I didn't even really know until 30 seconds ago that you wanted me to open up the show. So, yeah.
Love keeping you on your toes. That's what you got to do in a long-term relationship, Pat. You know, we've been doing this a long time. We got to. Sometimes you got to spice it up in the podcast room. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we're spicing it up right now. I mean, I'm not in my studio. I probably sound terrible. I'm in my office. I got AirPods in, so apologies to those of you who aren't happy with that. But yeah, you did a great job on SoBet this week. I finally got back onto winning ways. You know, I've been losing some units over the last few weeks. Still positive for the year, but we won. We were profitable for the U.S. Open, which based on the carnage, and we're going to get into the U.S. Open as we before we break down the Travelers. We're going to talk a lot about the U.S. Open, actually. But before we break down the Travelers, we're going to do that. But I hit a make the cut parlay, which I felt like should be really difficult in all the carnage. But that's what I hit. It was a near 17-1 parlay, and that saved our week on SoBet. We were profitable almost 2 units over there. So now over 10 units on the year. Join us over there for exclusive picks every week.
Well, I'm glad you did that because I had a pretty disappointing Sunday for the U.S. Open for me.
Sunday was hashtag disappoint.
Yeah.
For a lot of people. Happy Father's Day, by the way, to you and to Tony and to those listening. Our boy Matt Every, who normally joins us every week, will not be joining us this week. He's spending some time with his family. A shout out to Matt. Appreciate him filling in for you last week as you were out of town for a major week. Did you listen to the show, Pat? Did you watch the show at all or no?
I didn't because I just knew I was going to get a bunch of crap and I didn't even want to hear it. So I am going to go back and listen. It's just been a little bit crazy since my return to normal life. So
how was travel? Was it good? You have a good time?
Travel was good. Travel was really good. It was nice to go out there out west. It was a little bit cooler weather. And I know you hate Coldplay, but the Coldplay concert was amazing. And the Rockies game was quite interesting. I felt like, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Major League when they really sucked at the beginning. That's kind of what it felt like being in that stadium. Like there's nobody in there and there's no excitement. And you almost feel like you can hear the players talking on the field. Actually, you can't. You don't almost feel like you can hear like a lot of things that you would never hear at like a Braves baseball game or something. It's just crazy.
Oh my gosh.
So
well, stay tuned because you might be able to hear that in Truist Field here before too long. The old Bravos, freaking terrible. Speaking of the Rockies, got routed by the Rockies on Father's Day. That is funny. I never actually thought about that. But that's pretty funny being able to hear him chat. I had a good weekend before we get to the U.S. Open. Me and my son spent the weekend with our boy Stephen Bowdish. It was great to catch up with Baldo. Fantastic dude. Fantastic facilities got over there in Dallas. The Dallas-Fort Worth area, which could be anywhere within an hour of Dallas, I think. Irving, Colleyville, Fort Worth, Grapevine, Flower Mound. By the way, did you know Flower Mound is named after an actual flower mound and it's there in the town, a flower mound?
Really?
Yeah, if you blink, you'll miss it. But they have a sign that says "Flower." This is our flower mound, and that's why they named it Flower Mound. And it's just a mound of mostly weeds with
Hmm.
an occasional flower. But anywhere in that area, if you like golf and you want to get some clubs fit by an absolute professional and his team, you need to go to Tour Proven Golf. Check them out. This is not a paid ad. This is well, I mean, it's paid because Baldo gave me and Collins a free fitting, but he didn't ask me to do this. I'm just telling you, it's freaking awesome. TrackMan, full PGA Tour level fitting facility. Sam putting lab. You get fit through the bag. You can try every shaft head combination imaginable. It was a great experience, thorough fitting from Baldo, and most of the clubs they can build right there on the spot. Collins took his whole brand new bag home with him that night and played with it the next day. We got to play TPC Las Colinas, which I think now they've renamed the Nelson, but that's where Baldo won that PGA Tour event. So we got to play with him there, which is pretty cool. I'd never actually played golf with a PGA Tour player. We've obviously walked in the ropes and seen them do their thing, but never played with one, and that was pretty cool to do. Had a great time. Really, really good time. Missed you, Pat. But it was a lot of fun. So now to the U.S. Open, which we all watched yesterday. JJ Spaun wins the U.S. Open. No one, at least on our friends at Golf Tips Checker on X, great account that tracks all the handicappers on X. Nobody had JJ Spaun on the card. Can you believe it?
Speaking of X, I mean, literally, that's what they put on the tips checker email that went out with all the winners. It was just, I think, an X because nobody had them, and
Yeah.
I was shocked. I mean, I noticed this exact same thing. I was actually talking about it with somebody earlier today that not a single person had JJ Spaun on their cards, and he's been playing really well. He almost won the Players Championship. I mean, what has he got? A couple more like top fives. Um, I mean, I think he's even played more than he wanted to just because he's been so hot and he doesn't want to, give up any chance that he's got to keep gaining on it. But now he's top 10 in the world. He's number 8 in the world now, David. 8.
That's
JJ Spawn
that's
is 8th in the world.
no, deny. I deny that. That is not reality.
I mean,
That is
it
not true.
says it. Tony could find it and probably put
No,
it
I
up.
don't care. I believe you that that's what it says, but that is not true. And that is another example of how the world golf ranking is broken. And I'm not trying to take away the man's flowers for winning, the U.S. Open. And I realized he almost won the Players. And you know, to me, like by the way, 269 tips tracked by Golf Tips Checker and over 50 sources, and not one had JJ Spawn. Um, is JJ Spawn a nice guy? Seems like it.
Hmm.
Seems like it. Has JJ Spawn probably improved his game? I think he has. Seems
Yeah.
like he has. I would be shocked if he hasn't picked up a little speed lately. I was surprised to see some of the ball speed numbers. Um, am I taking anything away from what he did? Absolutely not. Now he did roll the rock. I think he gained 10 strokes or more putting this week. He made everything, including the last stroke of his tournament, that dramatic 60 something footer on 18. That was amazing. I take nothing away from him. Those two drives at the end on 17 and 18, where you have a chance and it's yours if you hold on. That drive on 17, he almost freaking made it. I mean, that ball rolled right by the hole on 17, almost had a freaking albatross.
Yeah.
Um, that was a big balls golf shot. The shot on 18, the tee shot on 18, where we had watched the previous groups missing it right. That's a hard tee shot under the pressure circumstances. Give him all the credit in the world for that. Great story. Seems like the guy literally. I mean, he's a journeyman. We've been handicapping him probably the whole time we've been doing this, and he's battled. He's won his card. He's lost his card. He's got it back. He struggled, um, and it seems like the biggest differentiator for him has been confidence and just the belief that he can do it and that he can be there. He wins his first tour event, I think in 2022. Probably still had some doubts, like maybe a little imposter syndrome, but I think the playoff with Rory at the Players was a major turning point for him. We'll see what happens. I mean, but it's obviously changed his life winning the U.S. Open. However, he was like the last guy on the leaderboard I wanted to get it done, and I was texting that in our group text on like Friday. Tony asked me when I logged on if I happened to be in Nancy Pelosi's office today, based on my text message. Um, someone we know may have said something about, would rather have a sexual encounter with Nancy Pelosi than JJ Spaun win the U.S. Open, and that was on like Friday. But the guy just hung around, goes out, shoots a 40 on the front nine, restarts, shoots a 32, has a Ray round, Ray Charles on the front nine, Ray Floyd on the back nine, changes his whole life with the U.S. Open. But I just, JJ Spaun as a major winner, third in the Ryder Cup standings and eighth in the world. I'm not buying.
I don't know what is it we don't like about JJ Spaun though. Really, like if we get down to it, like I don't know. He seems like a nice guy. His voice doesn't seem to match his body.
His voice is very off.
It's like you don't expect it, but he does. He kind of looks like a boxer, which boxers tend to have a high pitched voice. Like Mike Tyson.
A boxer.
Yeah, don't you? Yeah.
He's very round. He's very chubby.
Yeah, but he's got a face. He's got a face like a boxer.
Huh.
I think.
A face of a boxer?
Yeah.
It is, what month it is, Pat?
June.
Which is?
Pride Month, actually.
It's Pride Month.
Pride Month.
Yeah, and I got to, I filled in for you because you were absent last week. I filled in the Discord chat, and somebody brought up celebrating Pride Month, and so I made a Pride Month DraftKings lineup. Just celebrating possibly guys who would celebrate Pride Month in the player pool. Now, of course, Colin Morikawa was in there. I went 3 of 6. It was kind of a crappy. A few of the guys really just let me down. Brian Campbell, Zach Blair, Matt McCarty, all in that lineup. Tom Kim, Colin Morikawa, and JJ Spaun found their way in that lineup. So, I mean, I didn't put them on my betting card, but I did have them in the Pride Month lineup.
Basically, yeah, you had him as a winner. Good job.
Yeah. I wonder how that lineup would have done with 3 of 6, considering all the points. But speaking of continuing to break down the U.S. Open, we have a little bit of DraftKings postmortem. Your optimal lineup, Pat, you would have left $7,000 on the table. The only guy you would have had at double-digit ownership would have been Sam Burns at 16%. Your most expensive player would have been Victor Hovland at $8,500, with Bobby Mack, JJ, and Carlos Ortiz, who we did talk about Carlos Ortiz a good bit in the chat on Wednesday night. Those 3 guys in the 6K range. You would have also had Tyrrell Hatton in that lineup. So the optimal lineup, nobody had. The one that won the Millie Maker was a single entry, and I think it was Dalton Schultz, tied in. D. Schultz, 3064. It's got to be Dalton Schultz, right?
Yeah, it has to be. I don't think he's supposed to be doing that, but so maybe.
Well, it's golf, right? It's golf. Yeah. You could probably do it in golf. But yeah, single bullet takes down the Millie Maker. Now he spent all 50K, total ownership around 75%. Had JJ, Bobby Mack, Sam Burns, Victor Hovland, Scotty Scheffler, and Adam Scott scored about 444 points. There was carnage, as we expected at Oakmont, of the top scorers. You didn't have a ton of chalk, and the chalk, a lot of miscuts. I mean, obviously we could talk about Bryson. Seth Straka really let me down. A bunch of guys let me down. Rory kind of should have just missed the cut, but he didn't. Corey Connors was highly in it. He's got the wrist injury. It was. We did get carnage. I mean, we definitely got carnage at Oakmont. I think there were some definite lessons learned that you could take away, I think, in handicapping Oakmont in particular. I don't know if it would apply all the way to the U.S. Open, but whenever we come back to Oakmont, I don't know when that is, I think there will be some lessons to take away from this one. Obviously, weather played a factor. Now, you had Sam Burns on the card. What are your objective thoughts on the ruling that Sam Burns did not get?
Well, I had Sam Burns and Hovland actually on the card.
That's right, yeah.
And then I had a secret bet on Adam Scott that was one of those. Bet. Well, I was a little too scared to put that one out there on the card. I thought it might be a little bit stupid, but it turned out to be okay. So
wow.
But yeah, I thought Sam Burns got screwed on that ruling. I just did not think that. I mean, it would look obvious. I know they've kind of changed it and clarified that rule over the last few years. I don't think they call it standing water or casual water anymore. I think they have a different name for it.
What do they call it?
I just heard some folks talking about it today on the radio, so I can't
On
remember
PGA
exactly.
Tour Radio.
Yeah, PGA
This
Tour
is the
Radio.
Pat's PGA Tour Radio minute.
Literally, actually, I'm not kidding. I had to drop my son off right before the show here, and I was listening to them talking about it. And there is a different definition. Maybe Tony can find it. I don't know, but it's not standing water and it's not casual water. It's like I don't know what it is. But either way, it is what it is to me. Like, it was water in the area. Now, I don't know, it could have been that maybe there wasn't an area where he could have taken a good stance within the vicinity. I don't know. Or, he would have had, maybe they said, well, you can go this direction into the rough because he was right there on the edge of the first cut and he didn't want to do that. And he thought he should have it right there. I don't know. But I mean, when he hit the ball, water came up like crazy. It was going everywhere. He slammed it, a couple times, his club, and you could see the water there. So I did think it was, it was a little bit screwy. I mean, I think
Tony said it's called temporary water.
Temporary water. Basically, it's like it has to be in a puddle. And so I don't know, like, what you say a puddle is or what it's not. But I mean, yeah.
Why wouldn't they just stick with like standing water or casual water, where it's like, because I mean, all water on the grass is temporary, all of it. Like dew in the morning is temporary. A little sprinkle of
Yeah.
water. If I spit on the ground, that's temporary water. If I pee on it, if somebody pees on the grass, if a dog pees, if a bird pees, that's pee.
I think
A
they
bird
further
pee is temporary water.
I think they
They're not gonna
further
get relief for
clarify
that.
like what it is for temporary water, and it's like a puddle, basically.
So
And
standing water, casual water, loitering water.
yeah, but
Loitering water is actually
what if
good.
standing water can have different definitions? If you're a 400-pound man standing there next to your golf ball, you may bring up more water than the 150-pound man that's standing
Well,
next to
that's
you.
incentive to take care of yourself. As if you needed any more incentive, you should take care of yourself. That's all the more reason.
I don't know. I feel like the 400-pound man would get a better ruling because the water, he would be sinking down into the grass. The water would be coming up. They'd give him the ruling. They'd be like, "Oh, you made a puddle.
Well, maybe.
You made a puddle, so
Yeah,
you get to move it."
I'm not trying to be. I'm not trying to be contrarian here, but when it was happening live after the first ruling, I was like, yeah, why should he get relief from that? You couldn't see any water standing. You couldn't see it. Now, I get when Kyle Porter walks over there afterwards and puts his goofy looking shoes down on the ground. It puts up water, and yes, water splashed when Sam Burns hit the ball, but that was happening for everyone. Like, go back and look at every other golf shot from any spot in the fairway that nobody was asking for casual water relief. It was doing that, the same thing. So
Yeah, but
I
weren't
think
there a lot of others that were getting relief?
not really.
I think
I don't
others
I
were
didn't
getting relief.
I think I saw two, maybe two get relief. Um, but you couldn't see standing water. And to me, it's like, dude, it's been raining. Everybody's dealing with it. Like, that's kind of part of the game. If there's a clear, like there was that one shot, I think it was on 18, maybe. There was like a clear, like little river running through the fairway that shouldn't have been there. You could see it from the drone. Like, that's standing casual water. You could see nothing. When you stepped away from Sam Burns' ball and he wasn't standing there, you could see no water on the camera. And to me, it's like, well, dude, it's just wet and raining. Like, deal with it. That's it. And everybody was dealing with it. And then I think he kind of missed. I mean, obviously he didn't hit a great shot, and I know the rough is brutal, and we saw people struggle to get out of it, greenside all week. But it did seem like he was mad, and he let it affect him because it seemed like he kind of rushed those two chip shots by the green. It seemed like he rushed them, and then it leads to a double.
Yeah.
But
Well, I agree with that
um,
part. That was what I was gonna say is that he basically let that ruling, which was a tough one, to take, regardless if you agree with it or not. You still have to react to it in a more positive manner.
Yeah.
Like a champion of the U.S. Open needs to just be like, all right, look, it's not a ruling that I wanted. I got a bad one, and but I'm going to move on. You know,
You got to
and
deal
he,
with the adversity.
yeah, and I agree. I don't think he dealt with that very well. The person who did was JJ Spaun. I mean, he
Yeah.
started off 5 over through the first 6 holes,
Crazy.
and then he
And he
just
got a bad break. He hit that shot that
yeah
bounced off the flag. Yeah, I mean, he was very flat, and that's what
yeah
we talked about too. Is having it, and I just didn't know that he had that. I didn't know that was there. But um, yeah, Burns was clearly rattled after that. Clearly pissed. Uh, Collins, my son, texted me on Wednesday night and said, "I have two names that are going to contend to win the U.S. Open." And this is a completely uninformed 14-year-old opinion. And he said Taylor Pendrith and Sam Burns. So all weekend, I don't know if you've ever heard of, maybe not you, Pat, but somebody listening maybe. Have you ever heard a 14-year-old who already thinks they know everything?
hmm
If you've been around one on a weekend where they're a golfer, one of two golfers, it's kind of an out there pick is winning the U.S. Open. You never hear the end of it. Like every shot Sam Burns hit was a great shot, great decision. Every bad shot was, whatever, bad break, blah, blah. It was relentless and it was annoying the piss out of me all afternoon yesterday. And then I just kept saying, dude, this is the U.S. Open. Like this is not over. This is everyone's in the. He was counting the money. He had his hands on the money early yesterday, and boy, did he learn a tough lesson when all
yeah
that went down.
yeah
And yeah, it was. Also, Sam Burns' pants were way too tight. Like we got to do something about that. I could see every outline of his yardage book in his back pocket. Like pants are way too tight, Sam. We got to do something about that.
they
That
were
that's not good.
yeah well
What do you think about all the Rory stuff? You're the big Rory apologist. You love some Rory McIlroy. What do you think about his behavior this week?
I mean, I was a little disappointed in the behavior.
I
I
am
thought
too.
I thought it was kinda I mean, look, he came out of the Masters with, on top of the world. Everybody was sorta like, "All right, he had his moment, and, now let's see what happens next," and he hadn't seemed to really handle it all that well. Like, I don't know, like, I mean, I can't really tell what the deal is, and, like, I just anybody first off, I don't mind him skipping the media one day. That doesn't bother me. But like the answers the next day were still kind of like when he did it, like I think that was Saturday. Guess he skipped it Friday and then Saturday actually did an interview. Like they still weren't very good. It's kind of like
Yeah,
I've earned the right to do this and I've earned the like I don't really maybe you have earned the right to do it, but you don't have to say it like that. Like, it's just kinda how the way he said things just didn't really I wasn't too thrilled with it, and I thought that Rory the one thing about Rory that I've loved about him over the years is he gives really good answers to questions, he gives thoughtful answers,
yeah,
says what's on his mind.
yeah.
I don't always agree or, disagree or whatever with his answers, but they're usually pretty thoughtful, but this time it just didn't seem like he was I don't know, like, there was a whole lot of thought into him, and it just seemed like he just was a little disingenuous and kinda like, I don't know. I'm not really sure where it was coming from, to be honest, because the media's been pretty good to him, I think.
Yeah, the media has done nothing but kiss his ass for 20 years,
Yeah,
right? Like that's what we've done for 20 that's what they've done for 20 years. And, part of it is you've been one of the best players in the world that entire time. That guess what, dude? Like that comes with it. B, just what you said. Like you've been one of the more thoughtful, like open, candid, intriguing interviews. Like if you're going to be good at it, I mean, if like if you gave interviews like Brooks Koepka gave interviews, but you sucked, no one would ever want to talk to you. I mean, nobody wants to talk to a guy who sucks anyway. But if you sucked and you're interesting, people would want to talk to you. But if you suck and you're not interesting, nobody's gonna want to talk to you. If Rory just doesn't, I mean, like he could just be completely uninteresting, but he chooses to be kind of an ass. And at the end of the day, like, listen, I think a lot of media members are annoying AF. And I think a lot of media members ask dumb questions. We've been in the room. We've met some of these people. You know who they are. And maybe they think that about us when we're in the room sometimes. But at the end of the day, like, these people are doing their job. They're paid to cover your tour and put your tour in the eyes of the public and tell the stories. And that's a net positive for the game that you play. And it just kind of comes with the territory. And you're pissing on these people trying to do their job. And it's kind of beta. It's very beta again. Like, here I am swinging back to my, like, the Rory pendulum for me has swung a lot. You know,
Oh,
I've
yeah.
kind of been out for years, and I'm kind of in this year, and then now I'm kind of like, God, what is the deal? Now, I still think something is going on personally that he still has not talked about. I mean, he's talked about his attitude after Augusta. He's talked about how the driver thing and the media irritated him. But I think there's still something going on behind the scenes that doesn't have anything to do with golf, that is affecting his golf and all these things. Maybe that comes out. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it doesn't. But very beta behavior again from Rory. Do you think? What's your opinion on should the tour mandate certain, like, media obligations like Liv does?
I don't know. I don't know why they need to mandate it. I don't really
For
understand.
reasons like this, when your superstars act like babies and don't do this kind of thing, and they don't realize that it comes with the territory. Like, doesn't the NFL do that? Like, doesn't the NBA do that? I don't know. I mean, maybe they don't. I don't know. I know Liv does, but
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, what's a mandate gonna do? It's not gonna force a good answer. Like, you could
it
sit
may
there
not
and
force a
say,
good answer, but it forces you to get up there and face the music. If you don't give the good answer, if you act like a jackass, you continue to act like a jackass. But I guess it doesn't give you it doesn't put him on the high horse of, like, oh, you guys should be privileged I'm even here. You know what I mean? Like, because that's kind of how he acts. He acts like, you guys are graced with my presence, and you should be honored I showed up, and just be happy with that. Because I don't owe you this. When you kind of actually, I think you kind of do, to some extent. I mean, I understand, like, you sign up to play golf, you're an independent contractor, all that thing, but you kind of do owe it to the sport and the media and the fans and the people that show up to watch and the people that turn on the TV to watch and the people that buy your crap, that your clubs, your clothes, your whatever. I feel like you kind of do. So it kind of, if it was mandated, it'd be like, okay, now, this is as part of my job as playing in a pro am is a part of my job.
yeah, I mean, I think if you mandate it, I guess, again, it's gonna be, who knows, if it's just an average round that's not worth talking about, you really won't have to spend much time there, and if it's something that's worth talking about, then, I mean, I guess it would all even out. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I think they give us
We'll
a
see.
lot in their own right, being out on out there for 4.5 hours, playing golf and, being in front of everybody and whatever else. So, I mean, I'm not really sure.
Oh, now the Rory apology comes out. All right. Moving on. That's the U.S. Open. That's the U.S. Open recap. You probably heard that from a lot of other podcasts. That's fine. We wanted to talk about it. Pat and I haven't had a chance to really debrief about it. Happy to do it. But let's get into the Travelers Championship, the last signature event of the season. And then we've got kind of to look forward to. We got the Genesis Scottish in a couple weeks. You've got the Open Championship, which we obviously love, and then really it's playoff time, and then it's football season. So we're all pumped about that. But after football season gets going, you got the Ryder Cup, and that's what we want to talk to you about now, because we're going to the Ryder Cup. We're going to Bethpage. You've heard us talk about it all year with our friends at Elite Events and Tickets. Ryder Cup Golf and Getaway is going to be an awesome trip. Join us. We want our friends to join us. We've been talking about it. We've been pumping it up all year. Going to New York, staying in Manhattan. We've got the hotel rooms reserved. We've got the transportation to and from hotel and Yankees game on Thursday night with everybody. To and from the 27-hole Ryder Cup style golf tournament we're going to try to play at Clearview Park Golf Course in Manhattan. It's a nice little muni there. Breakfast and lunch included. Then on Saturday, we're all going to go descend on Bethpage together. And the way, again, we keep saying this, but I think the U.S. team continues to look more and more questionable now that JJ Spaun is third in the rankings.
Mhm.
The boys are going to need our help at Bethpage. So me, Pat, you guys, our closest friends, all walking the ropes, walking the golf course together, cheering on the boys. Is going to be a lot of fun on Saturday. Then we're going to go watch the Georgia Alabama game Saturday night at a bar in Manhattan with transportation, all included here. So you're not having to pay for transportation. And then on Sunday, if you choose to stay over, we're going to go back and do the Bethpage experience one more time on Sunday to watch the boys. Hopefully, bring back the Ryder Cup trophy. You've got all the accommodations, all the package details right here on the website. The link is in the description. You're looking at it right now. If you can't do this package, that's okay. Just fill out the form at the bottom of that link. And our friends at Elite Events are happy to work with you, happy to set something up, happy to figure it out if you say, hey, I can do this, but I can't do that. And just fill out the form and let them know. You're not going to get bombarded with emails and phone calls. These are good local folks working here in Augusta, Georgia. I've known them for 20 years. They've been sponsoring Tour Junkies content ever since we started, 9 years, 10 years now. So check it out, click the link, and just have a conversation. It's not going to obligate you to anything, but we really do want to start nailing down who's coming to this thing, especially so we can figure out the golf that we are going to play that Friday at Clearview. So we want you there. Get there. It's going to be a good time. Let's talk about the Travelers. We know about the golf course, right? Like it's a course we've seen a lot. TPC River Highlands. It's a shorter course. We go from Big Bad Oakmont Bogey Fest to one of the shorter courses on tour, Birdie Fest in Cromwell, Connecticut. Par 70. Our friends at Bet the Number have a great course page set up for you if you want to check that out. Basically, Birdie Fest, higher than average fairways in reg, higher than average greens in reg, green and reg number around 71% over the last 4 years or so. You get some birdies. You got Scotty Scheffler, your defending champ. Keegan won here in 2023. Xander before that. Harris English has won here. Not really a bomber's paradise if you look at the Bet the Number metrics. The approach shot buckets, there's one bucket in particular, extremely high approach shot volume from that bucket. Our friends at Bet the Number have factored that into their model this week. It'll be in on my model as well. And you got 70 players, no cut. Everybody's going to play all 4 rounds. Big time money, big time purse. And week after a major is always interesting to see who shows up, who's tired, who's ready for it after the brutal physical and mental beating that Oakmont puts on you. And Scotty Scheffler, of course, at the top of the board. Your defending champ, T4 the year before. He's a plus 280. Makes sense. Again, still makes sense. I know he didn't really find himself in contention at Oakmont. Still managed to finish T7 without his best stuff. And but he's there. And he's also the first pick for our friend Matt Every in the season-long competition. Matt not joining us, but texting in his picks. And he wants Scotty first, which makes a lot of sense. And Matt made up some ground, Pat, in his dead last position. I don't know if Tony's worried, but Tony had a good week too. Tony had the next best week. Matt kind of doubled him up. He had Xander and Cam Young. Tony had Scotty Scheffler, Wyndham Clark. You had Rory and Adam Scott. Adam Scott did a lot for you there. I had a big fat goose egg. Bryson and Thorbjorn Olesen. Terrible picks by me.
Yeah.
But I'm still fine. I'm still good. You
Yeah,
are still in the lead, but really being in first doesn't matter. You just don't want to be last and have to do the 10-minute stand-up comedy routine. And Matt Every is still in last to Tony by about $3 million. Matt has $6 million. Tony has $9 million. Matt on the board first with Scotty Scheffler. So that means, Pat, it is your pick. One name at 30-1 or shorter. And then we'll do one name at, what did we say, 100-1 or longer?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what we're doing?
Yeah. I'll go with Xander. 14-1 Xander.
14-1 Xander. Is it me? Yes, it's me. All right, 14-1 Xander. I like that. Xander having another good week with the irons. I think that's important for him. Good to see him doing that. I'm tempted to go with my bomb first because the bombs get pretty gross down here at the bottom. I think I am going to go with my bomb because I want him. He ranks out nicely in the Bet the Number model. Form is good. Short game is really good. Can make some birdies in bunches. Didn't play well here last year, but I like it. I'm going to go with the bomb at 100-1. Give me Harry Hall.
Ooh, okay. Is it me?
Tony, you're up.
No,
Nope. I'm making an appearance.
Tony.
I'm going to go with, I got back-to-back here, so I'm going to go with Patrick Cantlay, great form at this course, and I'm going to go Thomas Dietrich, coming off of a couple top 20s.
I was looking at Dietrich. We talked about him a lot in the Discord chat last week. Okay, so back to me. I'm going to go Morikawa. I think Morikawa has a good week. Don't know that he wins because he's not really a winner, but I think he has a good week. So back to you, Pat.
I will go Ryan Gerard, who's 100-1. Been playing well all year. Does not have any history here, but I like him this week.
It was between Gerard and Hall for me. I like that. He's doing his thing, man.
Yeah, he has.
I like Gerard. Matt has not dropped his last pick, but we'll get it from him and update everybody. The race is heating up. We only have about, let's see, how many more tournaments do we have here? We got, so this week, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 more events. And then we will know who's going to go do the stand-up routine. So looking back at the top of the board, I think Scotty makes sense at plus 280. It's basically the same number last week at Oakmont with all that volatility and 150-something players. I think it makes sense. But if you don't want to play Scotty, first move up top, Pat, I'm assuming it's Xander.
It's Xander for me, 14-1.
Yeah.
I agree. I like with what you're saying. I like what I saw last week. Has a good history here. Won back in 2022. So I think Xander is the play here up top outside of Scotty.
Total agreement. I mean, I think we got to stay away from Rory for a lot of reasons. Like I said, I like Morikawa. May hear more on him in a little bit from me, but I'm still just not convinced this guy's ready to. I mean, he's probably ready, but he's just not a winner. It just doesn't seem like he's a winner. And Xander played so good last week. You know, in terms of ball striking, it looks good again. So that was nice. What do you think about Hovland? Do you think the guys like that battled there late on Sunday? What do you think about Hovland? His mental state, like tired, like I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like with Hovland, things have, there's been some inconsistencies, but I mean, there was, the reason I had him on the card last week. I thought that, you've seen him, continue to play pretty well. T28 at the PGA, had a, top 25 at the Memorial in a good field. So he's continued to kind of improve parts of his game. He is 6th in the BTN model this week. So you're seeing, a lot of good signs from Victor. And I think he could be in play when it comes to Royal Portrush here in a few weeks. So I don't mind, trying to look at Victor this week. 30-1 and, even money as a top 20 play. Has good history here for the most part. So I think Victor is certainly in play. And I don't think he's going to be too tired from Oakmont. I mean, a lot of these guys, I mean, this is a good field. A lot of these guys were there. So, as you said, it's a little bit easier course. Ball striking course. I think that, we could see Victor up there at the end.
I think I'd rather lean on Straka again. I mean, he definitely screwed me. I had him every possible way last week. And just really, I mean, Oakmont wasn't a perfect course for Sepp Straka. I mean, there's probably not a lot of perfect courses for him. He's just good at everything kind of, but it wasn't the best fit for him. And he still hit it well. Tee to green, gained about 2.5 strokes, tee to green, lost 4 strokes putting, and he's been putting really well all year. He just had a bad week on the greens, is what it is. I'm not super worried about it. He's never had a great record here, but the guys just continue to, he's had a different year. He's just in a different world. Winner of the John Deere, which you had, another birdie fest. This can kind of get there with scores in the 20 under range the last few years. So 35-1 on a guy that's, won a couple times already this year and number 2 in the model on Bet the Number. I bet he's up there in the top 5 when I run mine. So 35-1 for Sepp. I'm going to keep doing it. I don't plan on not betting Sepp for a bit.
Well, let me ask this then, because I think you've got 3 guys, and you could apply this to, just DFS talk with DraftKings pricing. But we'll take Sep out of it because I do agree with Sep, but but he's 9,200 on DraftKings. But Victor is 9,000 and Justin Thomas is 9,300. And Justin Thomas is 25 to 1. Would you rather have Justin Thomas or Victor Hovland this week? Betting or
And
whatever. We'll say betting.
I would rather have. I think I'd rather have Hovland. I don't like the last few weeks with JT's ball striking again. Just this the volatility. I mean, I know he's got a better record here. I mean, in a just with no format being factored in. Now, DraftKings, I would imagine Hovland will be higher owned. It depends on how higher owned and the rest of my lineup construction and total ownership. But just stand alone, I'd rather have Hovland. But we'll see what the DFS projections shake out to be.
Yeah. I agree with you.
I'm tempted with Keegan again. He was on the card too, kind of bummed me out. Didn't hit it well at all at Oakmont, despite gaining strokes off the tee, which is good. Just the irons were way off. But a winner here, loves this golf course. We all know he loves this, this area of the country. It's kind of his spot. I still thoroughly believe he's going to do everything he can to make a run and make himself a part of the conversation in terms of a playing captain for September. So I think I lean him over a guy like Fleetwood who's going to check some boxes, even Burns, just because Burns is just volatile from a ball striking standpoint, even though he's had a good run here and he's probably a little mentally out of it after 4 days of Oakmont kicking his butt. So I'm tempted with Keegan. I'm not fully sold yet, but I'm tempted.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind Keegan either. I think you're right. He really wants to keep it going and be playing on his own team. I don't have him as one of my favorite bets, but I can't argue with not playing him or with playing him or putting me on your card. I think in this area for me, the one player I would say, and I think this is obvious, is that Sam Burns is probably the one I will avoid, even though if things hadn't gone, if they'd gone a little bit differently on Sunday, maybe if he had not won, but he's still been right there at the end, I might have a little bit different take on it. But I think Sam Burns, who I would have liked him probably this week. And I think I might not put him on a card because he worries me. He worries me from everything that went on, the ruling, not getting it done in a major, really not getting it done the last few weeks. I think that I think Burns would be somebody that I would avoid. But the other one that I would like, who played well and just all of a sudden found himself in it at the very end, is Bobby Mack. I like Bobby Mack this week at 40 to 1.
See, I think Bobby Mack's turned into kind of a tougher course guy. Like, I think he just likes to show up for these tough courses. I could be wrong, but doesn't it feel like that's when he's played the best? I don't remember what it was
But
when
he's
he
been
won.
playing pretty well lately. I mean, he's
Yes.
his last 4 starts are good with a T6, T20, T36, and then a second. Now the second was, I mean, I think we saw one shot of Bobby Mack yesterday,
Which
but
is
still,
insane. Yeah.
it's just nuts. But he has played here before. He played here last year and finished 16th. Yeah, I don't know. He's not going to wow you in any model. He's 34th in the model, but
Yeah.
but I still think at 40 to 1, I could see him coming out and winning this week.
Dude, I think the play there is Ben Griffin. And I mean, it's
Yeah.
crazy. But this guy, and let me just eat the L here. Wednesday night chat and Discord, our boy Kenny McAndrews was like, and I guess I'm not eating the L, but Kenny McAndrews was like all over Ben Griffin winning Oakmont. And I said, man, there's no way. I will say, I said, there's no way Ben Griffin wins Oakmont. I see Ben Griffin playing well at Oakmont. It's hard to not, as good as he's been hitting it, hard to not keep playing well. And I think he's confident, a little swaggy right now, feeling himself. He's feeling himself right now. Very few guys on tour are feeling themselves like Ben Griffin. I don't know if Scotty Scheffler feels himself to the extent that Ben Griffin feels himself.
I think you're right.
And say what you want, like you kind of want that in a guy. And I was sitting here watching at a certain part on Sunday, and I'm like, what the F. Like Ben Griffin's about to win this thing, or could. He's entering the chat. And then he evaporated. He finishes +5 T10, far away from the lead, but not that far away. But even still, strokes gained in every category again. He has 16 straight rounds, or sorry, 4 straight tournaments. I don't know about every round, but 4. We could look at it on Bet the Number. 4 straight tournaments where every category is in the green, and it's mostly dark green on Bet the Number for Ben Griffin. The guy is just on an absolute heater, and I think the birdie fest where he can be aggressive are even better for the guy.
Yeah.
So 45. I mean, I don't know how that number has moved today. I would imagine if we were doing the first look shows, RIP, it might have opened a little longer, but I bet it gets shorter. I bet that gets bet down, and I want it now. He's on the card at 45.
Yeah. I mean, look, Ben, God, the guy. Well, next for me is going to be up a little bit higher, and it's a guy that you finally came around to, DB, a few weeks ago, Cam Young. We got to ride him while he's hot, Cam Young, 50-1.
See,
Why not?
I think the same thing about Cam Young as I do Bobby Mack. I think he's a hard course guy.
Yeah, maybe, but
or a TGL guy, or it's just got to be a simulator.
I don't know, but 2 fourth place finishes in a row. I mean, was the Canadian course that difficult?
No, I mean, no, it wasn't.
T25 at the Memorial. Now that was a little bit more difficult course, of course.
Yeah, I'm not doing the Cam Young experiment for. I mean, the guy gained 8 strokes putting at Oakmont. Like, God, when's the last time that happened? He didn't even do most of his damage on freaking off the tee and approach, which is what people love him for. He did it short game. He gained 10 strokes short game.
I mean, look,
Does that
means
change your mind?
His all around game is, it's getting there. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not in on that.
I like Cam Young, and then there's 2 more also that I like in this range, are Taylor Pendrith and Harris English. Pendrith's at 55-1, and you got Harris English there at 60-1. Both playing extremely well. Pendrith is 10th in the model. Coming off of, I mean, these are his last 4 starts: 5th, T12 at the Memorial, T27 in Canada, T38 at the U.S. Open. Has a T23 last year here. I think Pendrith is definitely looking good for this week. I like him at 55-1. And Harris English just seems to be, I mean, he's won here before. Had a second, at the PGA, kind of snuck in and got that second, but T12 at the Memorial in another tough field. So I think Harris English is also in play there at 60-1.
There's a lot of guys in that, like, I guess 70 to 50 range that I also like, but I think just between Sepp and Griffin and maybe Keegan, I'm probably going to have to go bombs from that point. And really, like Ryan Fox sticks out to me. Nick Taylor's had a good few weeks.
Absolutely. He was going
and
to be
we know how he gets. And then I talked about it with Oakmont. Like, Max Gracerman is kind of back again. I don't know if I see him winning. He's probably more of a bomb, like a good. He may be a good top 10 bomb at 5-1. So maybe not winning, although I'm tempted. And Ricky's a little interesting.
I was just about to say, are
90.
you buying Ricky at all?
I think I am. Like, didn't have to play Oakmont. He's had a couple weeks rest. Played well at Memorial. Played well at Colonial. Played well at Truist. Like, the guy obviously is trying to take advantage of the starts he's getting, and he's starting to earn it. And he's not a model stud by any means, but he's 90-1, and I think Ricky's interesting. Harry Hall, who I already mentioned, you mentioned Ryan Gerard. I think there's some good names down here. We could see a bomb get this done if some of the studs have a little bit of a letdown after a big game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I definitely think Ricky's worth a look. I love Nick Taylor. I'm a big Bud Colley fan.
Yeah, Bud's kind of looking at me too.
I think Bud there at 90-1 is interesting. what was his deal at the, because I feel like he was right there with a chance, and then it just kind of fell apart. I mean, his numbers were not good at the Open.
Yeah.
Of course, a lot of folks' numbers weren't that good. They were, um, but in general, I think he can come back this week and have a good week. So I do like Bud Colley as well at 90 to 1.
Yeah, I mean, Sam Stevens playing well. Novak again, 100 to 1. Novak almost winning the Heritage as an elevated signature event. So, yeah, there's a lot of good options down here. It'll be fun to see how the DFS ownership shakes out as well. In terms of top tens, I already mentioned. I think Gracerman's my bomb top 10 at 5 to 1. Him or Fox. I'd say probably Fox probably has a better shot, but Gracerman sounds more fun to say in terms of it being a big bomb at at top 10, just with the shorter field, 5 to 1. My lock top tens. I'm going to go Colin Morikawa, who I started to talk about it at plus 140. I just think good course fit, playing well, checking boxes, just not getting it done on the greens usually, or just not putting it together for 4 days. So I'm going there, and I'm going Ben Griffin. Like, I think Ben Griffin is actually a top 10 lock at plus 320, which is insane.
Oh wow, okay.
But I mean, he's had a top 10 in his last 4 starts. Two
Yeah,
of those were majors.
yeah, I do.
2 of those were majors. Another one was a signature event, and the other one was Colonial, which, I mean, and he won, which isn't a signature event, but a lot of big names show up there. So, like, I don't think Ben Griffin is. I think we're past any sort of intimidation factor or I shouldn't be here. Like I said, I think he's feeling himself.
Well, I'm going to go with Xander for one at plus 120. Obviously, I like him as an outright. I think a top 10 is looks to me like a lot there at plus 120. I like Victor a lot, and I'm going to go with him at plus 240. I really think Victor has got. He doesn't seem to really, let a whole lot of people know when he's really starting to feel it, and when he's got his game right. I think he's got it there, and I think he wants to continue that going into the Open Championship. I think he's definitely motivated this week, so I do like the top 10 there for him at plus 240. And if I'm going to go for a long shot, I mean, I think I'll go Nick Taylor at plus 500. I think that would be my long shot top 10.
Yeah, I think a lot of agreement down here at the bottom. Not so much top and middle, but a lot of agreement at the bottom. Hopefully, we get us a winner this week for the Travelers. Next week, the Rocket Mortgage. And guess what?
What?
I'm on vacation.
Oh, yes. All right. For the Rocket Mortgage?
Yes. Going to Sea Island. Going to Sea Island, the family vacation, normally in Hilton Head. Going to Sea Island this year. Going to play Frederica. Yeah.
All right. Sweet.
Going to play Fred. Going to play Seaside, host of the RSM with our buddy William Watley. Shout out, Will. Good dude. Avid listener. DraftKings winner. Net positive winner, I think, maybe.
Yeah.
And just a good friend of the show. I'm going to go down there and play with him a little bit, have some fun with the family.
Nice.
You and Matt holding it down next week.
Well, we will look forward to that.
Everybody get in the comments and piss and moan about.
Look, it's going to happen. Look, it's the summertime. There's vacations, things.
Hashtag things.
Yeah.
You got anything else, Pat?
You know what? I do have one more thing. I want to ask all our listeners to do whatever it is you do, whether it's good vibes, certainly prayers, anything that you feel could help for my brother, who we affectionately call Direct TV. He's obviously a big supporter of ours, but they found out his daughter, Emmy, beautiful 3-year-old girl, has leukemia. And all of us have been affected by things like this in our life, and some way or another. And I do believe that prayers and prayer warriors and all the folks that you have out there that can help put good vibes to their family's way. I think I'm very confident that the prognosis these days for this kind of thing is good. But I'd be remiss if I didn't end the show or say it at some point that we would certainly appreciate that for the Perry family. And I know that they need that. because they got a little tough road here ahead. But Emmy's strong, just like all kids are. They're much stronger than we are. They really are. So I would appreciate that. And so that would be, that's what I got, DB.
Yeah, prayers for Emmy. She's a precious little girl, and Chris, obviously a good friend, and your brother and a friend of the Tour Junkies podcast community. Love those guys, and praying for them for sure, and ask you to do the same. Let's have a great week, and we'll see you next week for the Rocket. Send over your bookies. See ya.
Out.
Tour Junkies featuring David Barnett is not an affiliate of CWM LLC. Opinions expressed by the host or guests do not reflect those of CWM LLC. CWM LLC does not endorse gambling or the entities promoted by the Tour Junkies podcast. David is a non-registered representative of CWM LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor.